Welcome back to Craig Commends. It has now been a year since the sad passing of music legend Ozzy Osbourne. As a tribute to the legacy of the Prince of Darkness, I ranked my favourite 25 songs from the first 6 Black Sabbath albums, an album run of rare consistency and excellence. So we are talking my favourite 25 songs from the debut album in 1970 to Sabotage in 1975. Let the debates begin. At lucky last, I've placed Hand of Doom from Paranoid. The song begins with a foreboding bass line and a shuffling drum part from Bill Ward. It's all classic doomy riffs and atmosphere from the masters. And just check out the groove and swing of the lengthy bridge section. It perfectly showcases some of the versatility Sabbath were capable of. At 24, we have The Wizard from the debut album. A crying harmonica signals the start of this storming rock song. It was rumoured to have been inspired by Gandalf from Lord of the Rings. The band locks into a real groove in the verses, with the characteristic drumming flair of Bill Ward bringing it all together. A great bluesy rock song before the band turned to the darker tones of early doom and stoner metal on later releases. After Forever is at 23. A song from Black Sabbath with pro-Christianity themes was probably not on most people's bingo card in 1971. The music is not quite as doomy as some of the other songs on Master of Reality, but the riffs and feel are first class. Another great song. Hole in the Sky arrives at 22. The opening track from Sabotage begins with the usual riff fest from Iommi. He is the riff master after all. The rhythm section creates a thunderous groove as Ozzy's high-pitched, somewhat nasally howl serenades us. A no-frills hard rock song of the highest quality. At 21, I've placed A National Acrobat, a great song from the Sabbath Bloody Sabbath album with another exceptional opening riff. I love the part that begins just before the line, "You gotta believe." The echo on Ozzy's deranged sounding vocals, the searing guitar work, and the usual swing from the rhythm section. It all works so well. The song transitions to a lengthy instrumental outro with quality riffs everywhere. Simply magnificent. Solitude is at number 20. For me, the best slow song from the first 6 albums. It has such a calming, dreamlike quality. Ozzy's vocals seem to float above the music as he grieves the breakdown of a relationship. Flute adds to the mystical feel of the song. A touching ballad that provides some respite from the crushing heaviness of Master of Reality. Fairies Wear Boots, a deeper cut from the Paranoid album, is at number 19. After a brief instrumental intro, the band locks into a rhythm with an ample swing to it. Sabbath didn't just rely on raw heaviness. They were capable of creating music with a natural underlying bounce to it, usually accentuated by the jazz-influenced drumming of Bill Ward. A great closer to one of the best albums of all time. At 18, we have Lord of This World from Master of Reality. Down-tuned, pummeling heaviness in all its glory with what sounds like a mooted cowbell at the start of the instrumental outro. And just listen to the dynamic bass playing from Geezer Butler, untouchable. NIB from the debut album is at 17. It begins with a bass solo that briefly pauses before it locks into the instantly recognisable riff. The guitars and drums enter and we're off. The song is sung from the perspective of the devil who is falling in love. "My name is Lucifer, please take my hand," Ozzy sings in the last line. Likely more a demand than a request. Classic early Sabbath. Killing Yourself to Live from Sabbath Bloody Sabbath is at 16. A relatively straightforward rock song by the standards of Sabbath with typical riffs galore. The band's capacity to group multiple riffs into one song is unparalleled. Just as you've finished admiring one riff, the next one arrives. Multiple listens have always been required to fully appreciate Sabbath. Another deeper cut that deserves more attention. The title track from the sophomore effort is at 15. The song is paranoia and depression, set to a catchy as hell blast of chuggy metal perfection. The clever and insightful lyrics by Geezer Butler are exceptional, and despite the popularity of the song, somewhat underappreciated. There is some listener fatigue with this one, but it deserves its place in the top 25. At 14, we have Sabra Cadabra from Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. It opens with an awesome contorted guitar riff. More riffs pile on top of more riffs as the song works through its near 6-minute runtime. Piano and mini Moog flourishes add some colour. A flawless hard rock song about love, a theme rarely explored on the first 6 albums. Iron Man from Paranoid is at 13. It doesn't matter how many times you hear that riff at the 28-second mark, it never gets old. As heavy as an anvil, it is simply one of the best guitar riffs ever written. The outro section with a great Iommi solo is pretty good as well. As with Paranoid, there is some listener fatigue, but its greatness remains undeniable. Symptom of the Universe from Sabotage is at 12. After inventing heavy metal, doom metal, and stoner metal, why not have a go at thrash metal? Okay, that may be a bit of hyperbole, but the chugging riff from Symptom of the Universe is at least a second cousin of thrash metal. A metal masterpiece and one of the band's heaviest songs from their early years. After a searing solo, the song takes a breather for the final 2 minutes, which is full of beautiful acoustic guitar flourishes. Brilliance from start to finish. At 11 is The Writ from Sabotage. The insane howls and laughter from the previous song fade away, and you're left with a lone bass line. When Ozzy's screech breaks the calm, you can feel his anger and frustration. The Writ is one of the few Black Sabbath songs where Ozzy wrote most of the lyrics. It's a near 9-minute experimental journey of multiple parts and emotions. There's rage, there's sadness, and towards the end, an uneasy acceptance of the band's situation at the time. But everything is going to work out fine, Ozzy sings. If it don't, I think I'll lose my mind. An underappreciated classic more people need to hear. The title track from Sabbath Bloody Sabbath is at number 10. It begins with a masterful riff from Iommi that supposedly broke a period of intense writer's block for the guitarist. The song captures one of Ozzy's best vocal performances. He really goes to the top of his register during the outro part as a heavy riff crushes everything in its path. Impossible to leave this one out of the top 10. Wheels of Confusion, the Straightener, is at number 9. It's a lengthy 2-part song that opens Volume 4. After a brief intro section, the first part is carried by another granite-hard guitar riff. Ozzy's soaring vocal melody complements the music flawlessly. When he climbs his vocal range on the line, "In the land of fairy tales and stories," as the riff churns, it's another moment of Sabbath magic to add to the list. The second part of the song is an instrumental coda that showcases Iommi's soloing chops. Supernaut is at number 8. Cymbals announce the arrival of the razor-sharp, undulating guitar riff that carries this track from Volume 4. The song features a 2-minute instrumental section that includes a blistering guitar solo and an almost funky drum passage, a top-tier Sabbath classic. At 7, we have Into the Void. The closing track on Master of Reality overflows with doom-laden riffs. The opening riff is like an unstoppable army on the march. The second, faster riff is just as good. The song oozes from the speakers like slow-moving lava. There's no flash, no wasted notes, just an anthem that sets the bar for doom metal to this day. Thrill of It All is at number 6. When Ozzy voices his admiration during the stop-start guitar riff that hits after the introductory guitar solo, you know you're in for something special. Thrill of It All from Sabotage doesn't disappoint. Another Sabbath song with 2 distinct sections, it's an underrated masterpiece from the most underrated album of the initial 6-album run. Sweetleaf from Master of Reality is at 5. A racking loop cough moves across the speakers before a classic Iommi riff takes over. Heavy and sludgy, it's a timeless love letter to certain herbal remedies that pretty much invented stoner rock. The title track from the debut album is at 4. Thunder rumbles and rain falls. A bell ominously tolls in the distance. When Tony Iommi's menacing riff, based on the tritone interval, appears from the gloom, you can feel the dread. A malevolent presence with eyes of fire lurks in the darkness, and music has changed forever. Black Sabbath introduced itself to the world with the iconic title track from their debut album, and what an introduction it is. It still sounds evil after more than 50 years. You can just imagine what it did to listeners in 1970. Children of the Grey from Master of Reality is at 3. Anchored by another majestic and powerful Iommi riff, Children of the Grey fairly gallops along in a lumbering kind of way. The unusual drum patterns from Bill Ward underscore the unrelenting forward momentum. The song addresses the looming threat of nuclear war during the Cold War. It's another stone-cold metal classic. Snowblind from Volume 4 is at 2. The lurching main riff is one of their best, and the drum performance from Bill Ward, out of this world. The way the drum rides the riff gives the song an unstoppable momentum. When the main riff and drum groove lock in again after the guitar solo, it is one of the best moments in any Black Sabbath song. It's icy metal excellence. And finally, at number 1, War Pigs from Paranoid. The doomy intro sounds like a tank battalion preparing for battle. The air raid siren warns us all, hell on earth has arrived. After a final burst of guitar, a lone hi-hat cymbal keeps time like a beating heart. Squalls of guitar sporadically break the silence. The tension builds. When Ozzy's distinctive high-pitched wail finally enters the fray, you know you are in the presence of metal brilliance. An absolute masterpiece anti-war song with a message that is still relevant in 2026. Again, Butler's lyrics are somehow underappreciated. One of the best metal songs ever recorded, and for me, the best Black Sabbath song of all time. So there it is, my favourite 25 songs from the first 6 Black Sabbath albums. To say this was a hard task is an understatement. There are so many good songs on those 6 albums, it was hard to leave some out of the top 25. Megalomania from Sabotage, Electric Funeral from Paranoid, and the ballad Changes from Volume 4 were particularly close to cracking the top 25. Let me know in the comments what your top 25 would be. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.